Hey folks, this is Zach Hubeck with Wave. I'm your Executive Vice President of Marketing. And folks, I'm super happy to bring you another edition of AirWAVs. I've got a couple of special guests with me. Our subject is all about the viaPhoton and Tarana Tower Configurator. And we're going to walk you through this solution today. And I want to introduce you first to my guests. First, I've got Vardin Amiri with Tarana. Vardin, how are you today, sir?
Good, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the call today, Zach. Really appreciate it. Good to be here.
Absolutely. So Vardin, what do you do for Tarana, and what do you want the folks at home to know about Tarana Solutions?
Sure. I'm a senior sales engineer here with Tarana. I've been with Tarana for about 1.5 years, in 23 years in the industry. I cover mainly the western part of US as well as all of Canada.
All right.
So what do I want folks to know about Tarana? Well, Tarana is known for creating the next generation of fixed wireless access solutions as an essential complement to fiber in closing the digital divide. And fiber is preferred for closing the digital divide, but in many cases, its implementation is too slow and costly to show timely returns on either public or private investments. So prior wireless options have not solved the problem in mainstream markets. Tarana has introduced a new wireless alternative that is a long-term substitute, delivering fiber class performance at a small fraction of the deployment time and cost of fiber, Zach.
Awesome. So fiber-like speeds deployed in days, weeks, not months, years, ready to go. Let's put up some Tarana gear, yeah?
Yep.
Beautiful. I love it. All right, let's jump to Mr. Hyde here. Keith Hyde, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Zach. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your time. So Keith, why don't you introduce yourself? You're with viaPhoton. Who are you? What do you do at viaPhoton? And what does viaPhoton do?
Oh, great. So I'm the Vice President of 5G. Been doing this for quite some time. I don't like to say it because it brings my age. But, we're a fiber connectivity company. Our main focus here is we really want to be known for changing the norm in the fiber connectivity, where we put the customer first in every kind of there's helping their solutions and their design for what they might need. What we're going to show today kind of is an example of that. Our Tower Map solution, it kind of is what we've done to put the customer first approach, where we want to give them a product selection process to make it easy, quick, and error-free. Some of our customers manage multiple priorities, and we want to make sure that we're a partner where we can offer a right solution for their existing pain points effortlessly every time.
Awesome. I love it. So folks, don't go anywhere. This tower configurator is amazing. If you're looking to deploy towers, you're going to be able to select how many Tarana radios you want, how many base nodes you want, and then all the different power considerations, surge protection that you need, that viaPhoton and Tarana can bring together. This thing is going to spit out a nice bill of materials at the very end and provide you with a guide on how to have a successful tower deployment. So I'm super geeked out about it. Let's go to a couple of questions first for Vardin here. So before we jump into that configurator, Vardin, what kind of planning and information do people need about their network and future-proofing that? What do they need to know before they start diving into this configuration?
Sure, Zach. So as far as site planning requirements go, it will be very similar to other wireless solutions, right, that they've deployed in the past. Power, cable type, length, surge arresters, all that kind of stuff. Yep. Just to name a few. And I believe those will be covered in the configurator when Keith goes through it. Yep. Now, as far as deploying greenfield or doing migrations, that would differ, right? Because remember, some of the technologies that Tarana brings to the table is cancellation, nulling, frequency reuse of one. So all these benefits, would allow you to, deploy the product in near or non-line of sight, as well as line of sight, kind of future-proofing your network, delivering higher capacitance. So therefore, you need to ensure you have the spectrum required for a solution. We use 2 by 40 megahertz non-contiguous channels. We're very easy to deploy, single outdoor units, no EPCs. No indoor units. We plug in right into your switch or router, and we extend your network and provide a wireless connectivity to the remote sites. So when you compare the planning aspect and usage and usability, it's a lot easier than what customers are used to with legacy or traditional type wireless solutions.
Awesome. Very cool. Vardin, I don't want to skip over one awesome detail there that you were talking about. When I think near and non-line of sight environments, I instantly go to 365 based on my history and knowledge of physics and what I've been in this space with. Now, Tarana, your 5 gigahertz solution actually thrives in those near and non-line of sight situations. Can you talk to the group at home about why that is? What's in your technology that's the secret sauce that allows 5 gig in those environments?
Sure. So our 5 gigahertz and CBRS solutions are both designed using the same technology. So we have not stripped out anything from one versus the other. The main difference between the two product lines is the carrier frequency as well as the EIRP allowed per FCC. So what are the differences between those two? Well, FCC for 5 gigahertz max EIRP is 56 dBm, where for the CBRS solution is really determined by the SAS, but it is typically higher than the 5 gigahertz. And you get about 9 to 10% better propagation on CBRS. If you talk to many of our customers, Zach, you'll hear a lot of time them say, hey, the Tarana 5 gigahertz performs or covers equal to our other vendors of wireless solution that deliver CBRS. And hence, when you talk about our CBRS, it really outshines and outperforms your traditional CBRS solutions. So, our customers typically, when you ask them, they say, 8 to 12 times performance difference between Tarana and other solutions. So whether you go with CBRS or 5 gigahertz, again, it's just the carrier frequency and the EIRP allowed. As far as technology, performance, and all that, they should be identical.
Very cool. Awesome, Vardin. All right, Keith, let's jump over to you, my man. Before we jump into the configurator, and again, folks, this is all about configuring a tower, lining up success. If you have multiple tower locations, this is a really cool tool to help you streamline that process and get everything you need for it. So what should folks be prepared to answer before they dive into this configurator, Keith? Help the folks out at home.
Sure. Well, there's the nice thing about this configurator is it kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of things. Yep. As Vardin said earlier, there's some things about power there's you have to look at, and we try to take those into consideration. So based on the height of the tower, there might be a different gauge that's required, and we can help with that. You don't have to do anything. The configurator will do that. So for most of the time, you just need really 3 things: how tall is the tower, or where you're going to have your rad center at, down to your base station at the bottom of the tower. Yep. And if you know that length, we have a place we'll show in a few minutes where you put that in. And if you know that, it'll calculate what gauge you're going to need. So the other thing you might need to know is, 1, how many radios do you plan to deploy on that tower today and in the future? So we like to future-proof. We don't want you to get a solution, have it in there, and then have to change it in a few years. We like to consider thinking about down the road. So we give you that option. If you plan now, you won't have to do that. Okay. The other thing you need to know is what kind of tower is it? And the reason why that's important, because we want to help you complete the whole solution. There are pieces that go to this. So for example, if you're using the hybrid trunks, you got to have connectivities that hang that on the towers. Those will be dependent upon the type of towers it is out there. So we will help with that as well. So really 3 things that they really need to know. And we'll get into that more in depth in a few minutes, Zach.
Very cool. Awesome. And folks at home too, if you need any help with the link planning or distance planning, WAVE has a full engineering team as well. We can do some pre-planning with you guys, pre-sales and engineering environments before we even jump into the configurator and help you guys out quite a bit. All right, gentlemen, we've teased these folks enough. Let's jump right into this configurator. Keith, if you could share your screen, please, and head over to waveonline.com. Let's show folks how easy it is to get to this wicked awesome tool.
I will definitely. All right, folks, we're on WAVE's website. Awesome. And once you get to waveonline.com, let me minimize this so it's out of the way. There we go. And you really just need to come to the resources here, scroll down to tools. WAVE has done everything and put a nice pretty link here for you. You click on the start configuring. It's going to take you to the site. Click on start. Now here's where the questions come about. It's going to simply ask you, what do you need? How many radios you plan on having on this today and in the future? To be honest, most cases, we're seeing a lot of the 6 radio solutions selected. You may only utilize 4 today, but you might need more down the road. So let's say we picked the 6. It's going to move through this. It's going to ask you if you want a discrete or hybrid solution to the top. 95% are using a hybrid solution. It saves you money, less hangers, less install, safer install all the way around. So you pick this. Go ahead.
I'm very sorry to stop you there, Keith. So hybrid versus discrete. Explain to the folks at home, and I want to assume everybody knows about that. So what is a hybrid cable? What are you talking about there?
Great question. So hybrid cable is just that. It's a hybrid. It's got power and fiber all in one jacket that is shielded that goes up the pole. Then we connectorize that with the connectors of your choice. The top tower part connects to our box, and then you tell us what you need for the bottom of the tower. Discrete's just the separate fiber and a separate power. We're not seeing a whole lot of that now because this install seems to be so much cleaner, faster, and safer, and also a little bit future-proof because you can add a few more fibers in here than so you have them for protected down the road, because sometimes fiber breaks. It's glass, so it can happen. And this having a hybrid like this is very beneficial.
Awesome. Vardin, are you catching what Keith is throwing there? Do you agree with him on this hybrid approach versus discrete?
Yeah, I agree with Keith. One question I would have for Keith is, Keith, you mentioned 6 radios. Is that purely Tarana, or does it include other radios like point-to-point backhauls as well?
It can do point-to-point backhauls. We're agnostic. We don't care what they utilize it for. Typically, we're seeing the 4 radios, Tarana's in there, and then they're using a backhaul in here as well and having an extra space if they need it.
Perfect.
Good question.
Awesome.
So we'll move through. We're going to pick the hybrid. Now the next question is going to be, do you need a box at the top, and do you want it to be surge protected? A surge protected is being lightning protection inside of our box that will protect your radios from Mother Nature. So any questions on that?
Nope. I say let's go surge protection.
There we go. Now, we also have solutions for the bottom of the shelter. If they have a need for the bottom shelter, we can do this as well, which will populate a bomb. It just depends. Some folks run it straight in. Some will run it to a cabinet, a side, or a box, and then run it through conduit. So we have those solutions for you for a box at the bottom and a box at the top if you have a need. For this demo, we're going to pick no box at the bottom for now. I'm going to assume they're going to run it straight into the cabinet. Next thing is that question I told you earlier about the height of the tower. This is what's kind of really important, because this is going to tell us a couple of things. One, what gauge we need to use. 2, how many hangers and clips need to be included in your quote. So what we'll do here, we're going to just use a 250 as an average. You put that in. And this, so you know, folks, this is from the cabinet on the bottom all the way to the OHE distribution box at the top, not to the actual radios themselves.
All right.
Then you get to pick the fiber jumper from the box to the Tarana radios. The standard we're seeing, we do have all the options that are available through Wave, but standard is the 33-foot, 10-meter. Then you come to the power jumper. So the 5-meter, 10-meter they also offer. And I think, let's say they pick, well, the longest is 10-meter. And you're going to, the reason why question says the longest, and you're going to see in just a minute why, but we want to make sure we start with there first. And we go next. This is where the shelter connectivity comes in. 95% are LC unibit or LC duplex. We do have those occasions where folks do have cassettes at the bottom and they want to use MPOs. We have that capability of adding it to our hybrid trunk when you need it. Hoisting grips, you got to get the cable up the tower. So we ask you, do you need them or do you have them? Some folks already have them in their inventory. If they do, they'd say no. If they don't, yes, this is an item that Wave offers as well. Next question is going to be, what kind of, do you want snap-ins for this to hang? I would assume yes, most cases, unless they have them in stock. And that's going to ask you if you want a grommet for your snap-ins, yes or no, because that would depend on the type of snap-in hangers that are included on the quote for you. We'll say yes for now. And then for the jumpers at the top, do you have any need for those as well? And some folks will use those, some won't, just depends. And I'm so sorry, wrong statement there. I jumped ahead of myself. This is for the type of tower. If you're using a cable ladder, existing cable ladder you have there now, angle adapters you might need, or round minter adapters. We can quote these on here through Wave, and you'll have this as a complete solution on the bomb. We're seeing most of this, obviously, on most towers are angle adapters, so we'll move forward to that. And then do you require for the snap-in at the top? This is what I was talking about, the jumpers. If you want to utilize that for the jumper that goes across to each radio, you can utilize these as well, and we can include those. I'm going to say no for now. And grounding kits. We did talk about surge protection. Mother Nature's not nice. We always suggest a grounding kit on every one of your sites just to protect it for that extra security. So we'll say one kit, and we're going to move through. Here, we would give it a name. The nice thing is you can name it XYZ company, and then you can give it site number whatever. But if I spell correctly, sorry, team. And finish.
So
It's going to bring us to a bomb.
Hey, Keith, quick question for you. And Vardin might have the same question. So as far as the lightning protection is concerned, are you always going to need one per radio? Or, I saw that you had 1 or 2 kits available. Walk us through that.
Yes, sir. That's a great question. So yes, you do need 1 surge protector per radio. The reason why is because they're all in circuits. So you've got to protect those circuits that are going to that radio. Yep. So if you got a 6 radio, you're going to want to get a 6 SPD, which you see this in this part number kind of represents that. Okay. And I'll show you a few things there as we talk about it. The nice thing about this bomb and your surge protect we just talked about, let's say you wanted additional circuits because you may, I need to add, I just realized I got another radio I'm going to add to this in a year and a half. Let's go ahead and add it. I don't have to go back. I can actually click this button here, open it up, and I can add additional protected circuits, or I can add additional unprotected circuits. What's unprotected? Well, that gives you that space if you have something up there you want to run everything through this box but doesn't need surge protecting. Or maybe you already have an SPD at the top, but you want to run it through. You have that availability. It'll change the part number for the box that goes to Wave, and they can help quote that to you.
Got it.
So, quick question, Keith. So, the viaPhoton solution obviously has surge protectors inside. If a customer decides not to go with one before cabinet entry, did they go ahead and buy surge arresters separately from Wave and put them before cabinet entry to protect the equipment in there? What is the recommendation or suggestion?
So that is a great question. And yes, they can. Obviously, there is a surge protector that I think the Wave supplies that they can do the inline that would be down for the cabinet entry. This would be more obviously at the top. So we always recommend surge protect at top and bottom. I mean, you can't have enough surge protection on a tower because this is nothing but a lightning rod, right? So definitely I would put one at the bottom and one at the top. And we're seeing, I would say 95% of the sites are using these singles down at the bottom with an OHE box at the top with a surge protector built into them. So just an easier, cleaner install. Good question, Vardin.
Thank you.
So let's just talk about a few other things on this. You might be familiar with meters instead of feet. You'll simply just check a button here and it'll convert it for you. Very simple. When I was talking about the fiber jumper length earlier, you can change those here manually for each one. Let's say one of them I only need it to be a different length. I can modify that different length, or I can set them individually here. Then I can come through this configurator allows you to do a lot of things, but we want to make sure it's available to modify everything here without having to go backwards, so you don't have to back out. But if we pick this one radio 1 and we need it to be 33, we can modify it to that. I want to leave all these at 33. And then we're going to come down and you'll see some more things here. Nice thing about this configurator is we have PDFs already attached. You don't have to go looking for them for the spec sheets. Simply click the spec sheet. It's going to open up. Here's your spec sheet you can download for the spec sheet for the hybrid cable. One thing I like to mention on our hybrid cable that's very important. It's terminated on both ends, but on the bottom end, this heat shrink is not attached. Not everybody is exact when it comes to measuring for the height to the rad for the box down to their base station or where their equipment is at. We allow you to go ahead and use the ripcord, stretch this back, shorten that cable power so that you don't have to worry about all this slack, and then put that heat shrink on that we give you attached to it, and it's ready to go. So we kind of think about that ahead so you don't have to worry about it in the field trying to wrap up 4 feet or 5 feet or 6 feet of power wire, which is hard to do.
So Keith, if I go to this configurator tool on the Wave site and I go through all the steps, so once I complete it based on what I input, so do I have everything covered from the cabinet all the way to the BN?
Good question. Great question. Wait, great lead on question too. So first off, here's your hangers, grounding kit. Down as the bottom here are the hoisting grip, hangers, bushings for your hangers, your angle adapters. And if you notice, got all the calculations for you on how many you need to purchase. And down at the very bottom, we do not support viaPhoton, but obviously Wave does, the Harding jumper and the Harding for the fiber and for the power. This also tells you how many you need of these. And if you were to change the length on those up at the top, they would tell you what length you need for each one of those for that. So when you have that, the next thing you do, hit this bomb. You can do it in Excel or PDF. If you do this request for quote, this goes straight to Wave and to their sales team, and they can reach out to you and they'll have the information. If you want to download it to modify it or send to your Excel or your salesperson, you can also do that by either doing a PDF or Excel. Some folks will download it for an Excel form, open it up and do some modifications or make notes in it. But this does have a complete BOM for them of everything they will need from the bottom to the top of the tower, including the box, OHE support box.
Awesome. Then what the Wave sales group will talk to you about, you know, to look at how many Tarana radios, how many base nodes that you selected in the beginning. We'd include that in the quote as well. If you were to select a backhaul solution that you wanted to do a point-to-point link to come to your point-to-multi-point network with Tarana, we can certainly help you guys with that as well. So we would really take it from there. Our sales group would work with our sales engineers and complete a full BOM and a quote for you guys. So you have a full tower solution here.
Could I mention one more thing, Zach, before we wrap up? The other thing is everybody's got multiple sites. The nice thing is you just do new configuration here. It'll take you back and start, but this one's safe. So when you come back to the end, you're going to have both. You can actually download them all at one time. So this will allow you to do multiple sites and not have to go back, you know, lose anything.
Now, Keith, we can also, you had the option of PDF or Excel. Right, yep. So someone can actually download an Excel and just change the quantities, right?
Everything. So here's their Excel file, and they can come in here and modify all they need. They literally just type in, I need 3 of these. I know that my trunk lengths are going to be the same. I need 4 of those. Yes, sir, they can. The one part they want to make sure is to calculate here because these all come in packs of 10, and the calculator will tell them how many.
Awesome. Very good. Vardin, do you have any other questions for Keith?
No, I think we're good. Thank you very much, Keith. That was very nice. I think it makes it very easy and user-friendly for customers to kind of get a good idea of what is needed to deploy the Tarana solution, as well as if backhaul is needed. So if I didn't need a backhaul, let's say I had a fiber-fed site, you know, the least, if I was to do a 4-sector deployment, I would select 4 as an option. Is that correct?
That is correct. You could actually modify this and do 4 sectors. That's correct.
Perfect.
Yep. Awesome. Very cool. Well, Keith and Vardin, what an amazing, quick, I don't know how long we spent together, but this was a super powerful tool that we're excited for all of our service provider customers to be able to use. Gentlemen, thanks for the really cool innovations here and great products. We are on that mission to close the digital divide, and we are set up very well with these tools that you've prepared for. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, guys, folks, this has been another edition of AirWAVs. Catch us next time. And if you need more information, you can hit us at waveonline.com. We absolutely are excited to help you guys out with your tower deployments. So thank you, gentlemen. You have a great day.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Vardin.
Thank you.